We got breaking news into CBS Sports HQ. Minnesota Timberwolves big man Naz Reid intends to remain with the franchise on a 5-year, $125 million deal. The deal includes a player option, and it's all according to ESPN. Reid had a player option for the upcoming season, but he's signing a new deal instead. Reid had career high in points, rebounds, and assists per game this season after winning Sixth Man of the Year in 2024. And for more on Naz Reid re-upping for 5 years and $125 million with the T-Wolves, we say hello to John Gonzalez of the Beyond the Arc podcast and CBS Sports NBA analyst. John, what's your reaction to Naz Reid making this deal, and why does it seem to make sense for both sides right now?
Yeah, coming into this offseason, Russ, I thought that he would be the main priority for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Evidently, Tim Connolly thought the same. And for Naz Reid, it makes sense to stay put because there would have been a healthy interest, a healthy market for Naz Reid, but he was never going to get as much money as he got here. He declines a $15 million player option. He signs 5 for $125, an average annual value of $25 million. So he gets a nice raise here. And there would have been interest from, there are plenty of teams that need centers, most notably the Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers, but neither of those teams would have been able to pay him as much as Minnesota. So for Minnesota, it works out. For Naz Reid, it works out. And really coming into this offseason for the Wolves, it was sort of like a pick 2 of 3 situation, because you had Naz Reid likely to decline his player option. He did. Then you've got Julius Randle with a player option. We'll see what happens with him. And then Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who had his best season as a professional this past season, he's a free agent. So now there's 2 guys remaining, and Tim Connolly has to identify which of them he's going to retain. And then the other one's probably on the road.
Look, and the T-Wolves have been right at the top of the pack there in the Western Conference the last few years. This keeps a major part of that team together now moving forward. You mentioned the decisions that need to be made. What does re-signing Naz Reid have, what does that mean for Julius Randle? Do you see him re-signing?
Yeah, that's a good question. Initially, if you had asked me, say, I don't know, 4 to 6 months ago, I would have said probably not, or at the very least that he would have picked up his player option. They would have tried to shop him. But after the All-Star break, Russ, he was really good. At the beginning, after he got traded from the Knicks, I was one of the people going, this doesn't fit. It's a clunky. They should maybe bring him off the bench. He's a ball stopper. And then all of a sudden, post-All-Star break, he kind of changed his game. He became more of a facilitator. It was less about him dribbling the air out of the ball and shooting and not passing the ball, and him really being part of a team system. He looked really good. So now the question is, does he pick up the player option and then they try to figure something out as they move forward, or does he do the same thing that Naz Reid just did, where he declines his player option and they sign him long term? It's a question for Tim Connolly because, as I mentioned, Nickeil Alexander-Walker is also out there. He's a free agent. They would love to have him back, but they can't keep all 3. And then on top of that, they've got Mike Conley, who at 38 years old, he was a starter last year, but he's really reaching the end of his career, and they're looking for an upgrade there too. So still a lot of moving parts for Minnesota, but the priority was for sure Naz Reid, and they get that done.
All right, 1 down, still decisions to be made for one of the best teams in the Western Conference the last few years. John Gonzalez, CBS Sports NBA analyst. John, thank you so much. Here's a look at basically the window for the T-Wolves, because you got Ant-Man signed until he becomes a free agent in 2029. Same with Jayden McDaniels. Naz Reid now with a new 5-year deal, and Rudy Gobert through into 2028. Now the question is, how do you fill those spots in around them? Naz Reid re-signing with the T-Wolves.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into HQ Spotlight on CBS Sports Network. I'm Jacqueline D'Agostino. The 2025 NBA Draft that is officially in the books, and the Dallas Mavericks are officially introducing Cooper Flagg as a new member, the newest member of the organization. So there were some surprises in the drafts, right? Like Trey Johnson falling to number 6, but there was no question what the Mavs were going to do in taking Cooper Flagg with that number 1 overall pick. It's been a rough couple of months for Dallas because remember trading Luka over where he took the Lakers. They're getting a lot of heat from the fan base because of that decision, and the Mavs had less than a 2% chance to get that number 1 overall pick. But alas, the basketball gods were in their favor. The Mavs getting the freshman phenom out of Duke, the National Player of the Year, and someone who arguably put up the best freshman season by a Duke player ever. So here is Dallas, the Mavericks, officially introducing Cooper Flagg as a member of the team. Take a listen.
There's a statue of Dirk outside the arena. Obviously, he was the face of this franchise for a long time. He kind of handed the baton to Luka. The anticipation is he would have been the face for a long time. Plans changed. there's now that anticipation for you. How do you feel about kind of that lineage and the responsibility that comes with those sort of expectations?
Yeah, I mean, I'm coming in just trying to learn and trying to get better every single day. And I think if I can do that to the best of my ability, I think expectations and pressures that other people, will put on me and our team, that will kind of work itself out. So, I'm just trying to come in and be the best that I can be and just win at the highest level.
Oh man, what a question right out of the gate. And we saw the smirk from Cooper Flagg as he's listening to that, probably trying to concoct an answer in his head. So we have John Gonzalez and Sam Quinn here with us on Spotlight because free agency, that kicks off on Monday. So we're looking at teams who have the biggest needs post-draft ahead of free agency, and we're starting with the Mavs, gentlemen. And a new, twist in all of this is that Jason Kidd saying that he's going to utilize Cooper Flagg as a point guard early, plans to push him by putting him in situations that might make him feel uncomfortable. So, Sam, when you're hearing that, plus thinking of what Dallas already has in AD, Klay Thompson, Kyrie, I know injuries are at play there, but what else do you think they need? And does Jason Kidd saying that about how he's going to utilize Cooper Flagg kind of make you shift your perspective in what Dallas needs?
Yeah, count me as a skeptic that Cooper Flagg can play point guard, right? Rookie point guards are usually bad point guards, right? They'll put up counting stats, but as far as affecting winning, doing so as a point guard in your first year in the NBA is like borderline unprecedented unless you're Magic Johnson. Cooper Flagg is very promising. I'm going to go ahead and say he's not Magic Johnson. So you're looking at a taxpayer mid-level exception, right? Around $5.7 million. That's what Kyrie gave them back, essentially, in the way that he restructured his contract, gave up a little bit of short-term money to add some long-term years back on the end. So you're looking at guys like D'Angelo Russell, Chris Paul, Malcolm Brogdon, those older point guards in that price range that can come in, hold down the fort short term, and just get you back to the point where hopefully Kyrie Irving comes back in February or March and you can roll from there.
Yeah, Sam and I have done too much basketball together because when we were thinking about the Mavs and their needs, I have D'Angelo Russell ? Anybody? That's basically the market they're looking for here. It's great that Jason Kidd thinks that Cooper Flagg could be a point Cooper Flagg in the NBA, but I think that's like a little bit more wishful thinking and out of necessity too, right? Because their front court, they're loaded on the front court. They just locked down Daniel Gafford. They've got Derek Lively. He's a big part of their team. I forgot about PJ Washington and Dwight Powell. And then, they've got some really talented wings like Najee Marshall. And I'll use talented in air quotes when it comes to Caleb Martin because the Sixers got off of him for a reason. They made a mistake. Nico Harrison did, giving up on Quentin Grimes. But that front court in the wing situation is actually pretty good. But you need sort of, Jacqueline, what amounts to a bridge loan here in the backcourt until Kyrie Irving comes back from his ACL injury. So yeah, I guess run Cooper Flagg out there because somebody's got to dribble the ball, but I'm also, like Sam, a little skeptical about that.
Okay, so Jason Kidd maybe pump the brakes, not really buying what you're selling at the moment in terms of Cooper Flagg being a point guard. All right, let's go to